Good morning. This is Leah Dixon in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I'm here with my regular Tuesday morning Facebook Live, a little bit later than usual, but I am here now. So thanks so much for everybody's patience this morning. I just had an online doctor's appointment that couldn't be rescheduled. So it just flashed on my screen that the video was interrupted. So hopefully the video is up and live for everyone now. I'm just going to come in here and put in a comment. There we go, and then hopefully that will allow me to see everybody else's comments. So as you pop on this morning, if you want to say hi, so I know who is on with me, that would be awesome. Oh, good morning, Val. Wonderful. So the card I have for you guys today is using the Touch of Ink free Sale-a-bration set. This is my favorite time of year because there are so many rewards for purchasing stamps, which of course we all love to do. So, oh good, Val, thanks for letting me know. So yeah, at this time of year with a $60 purchase before shipping and taxes, you can earn some Sale-a-bration sets, and then we have two fancier sets with a $120 purchase, and one of those is the Touch of Ink and the other is called Berry Blessings, and it's a stamp set and DSP combo. Oh, good morning, Lori. Good morning, Ruth. Yeah, I left a message last night saying I was going to be on a little bit late, so I just got on, Ruth. 10:30 was my new time, so just started. All right, so I'm going to actually transition my screen, if I can find the page to do that. So I'm going to transition over to, there we go. So I'm transitioned over to my desktop, and we're going to get started here with this A Touch of Ink stamp set. So some of you have been watching, oh, maybe I actually haven't done any videos. I've been doing a lot of creating, but maybe I haven't done any videos yet. I have been trying to clean up my craft room, and for me, one of my areas that got really overloaded was my filing cabinet where I keep all of my cardstock. And so I went through and I pulled out all of my cardstock scraps. So not the whole sheets and stuff, not larger chunks, but all of like these little strips of paper and stuff like that. And I've put them into a giant pile on my, I have like a keyboard tray that I don't keep a keyboard on. And so I dumped all of my scraps like this onto my keyboard tray. And I have been making cards like crazy trying to use up these scraps. I've got like a little piece here I can show you. This was just a little something I created. I was doing a bunch of cards and this was one of my experimentations. So just, yeah, all those different scraps of different thicknesses, I've been trying to use them up. And today's card, we're going to have another way to use up some scraps. Good morning, Kathy. So I am going to grab a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I keep a stack of Whisper White cardstock cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And the reason I keep it cut at that size is because that is a perfect layer to the front of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card front. So I keep a stack of Whisper White already done up, and I also do keep a stack of thick Whisper White cardstock cut both in this long way and in kind of our more normal here, kind of cut in this direction as well. So all this is a piece of cardstock that's either been cut at 5 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4, or cut at 4 1/4 and scored at 5 1/2. And so I keep stacks of these in Whisper White as well, thick Whisper White, and then my layers. So I've grabbed a layer here, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move this stamp set out of the way. We will be using it, but not just this moment. So with this piece here, I'm going to take these scraps that I have, and I'm actually not going to cut them just yet. I'm going to glue them down first and then trim them to the exact size. So I'm just going to lay this here and put the tiniest little bead of liquid glue along this piece of cardstock, just the amount that I need to be able to adhere it to my card front. And then I am going to, pop in here and put this down on my card front. And I did get a little bit of extra glue there. The nice thing about the liquid glue is you can kind of wipe it off while it's still wet, or you can let it dry a bit and then grab either a white eraser, or if you're an old timer like me, I have a glue eraser. A nice white, like pencil eraser works for this as well though. And you just kind of erase the glue. All right, so I've got that one glued down. I'm not going to bother cutting it just yet. I'm going to take a strip. So this was probably Magenta Madness that I've got here. And now I've got the same thing here, just these itty bitty scraps of balmy blue. And so go across there and flip this one over. And glue that down. Oh good, no glue, no extra glue on that one. Put that one down nicely. And then I'm going to do one more strip here in balmy blue again. If you could see my other desktop, it's quite wild. There's like a giant pile of every color you can imagine, different widths and different lengths. So I'm slowly using them up. All right. So now that I've got those three glued down, I'm actually going to flip it over and take my scissors and use the cardstock as my guide to trim those ends. So now I have a few more pieces to throw back on that scrap pile, but these will be useful for something else. So now that we have kind of that fun little background, I am going to come in and do a little bit of stamping. So I've got some balmy blue ink to match that paper strip that I've got there. And get that eraser out of the way. I am going to grab the leaves from the A Touch of Ink stamp set. And I'm going to ink those up in balmy blue. And even though it's not a very dark color, I'm actually going to stamp it off and then come in here and stamp it. So it's extra light because I did that stamp off. While I'm at it, I'm going to grab a second piece of Whisper White and I'm going to do that process again. And this is going to be the piece that goes onto the inside of our card. So I'm going to stamp that off and then come in here and stamp it. There we have it. And I'm going to do it one more time on my envelope. So again, ink that up, stamp it off, and then stamp it. All right, so we've got that leaf done 3 times in the second generation balmy blue. Now I can put that away, yeah, entirely actually. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to move these 2 pieces off to the side. I'm going to bring in now my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to actually cut 2 circles using our circles from our Stitched Shapes dies. So I've got a piece of another scrap of balmy blue and a scrap of Whisper White, or sorry, Basic White. Now I love the Stitched Shape dies because they have the beautiful stitching on them, but you also get such a variety of shapes. We've got squares, circles, and ovals. So for today's, I'm going to come on in here. Oops. Put down my white, put down my balmy blue, and then pop my dies right on there. And these are, it's the largest stitched circle and the smallest stitched circle that I'm going to use. Run these through. I'm very excited. I have my, oh, good morning, Martine. I have my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine on its way. And that's such a great one if you are interested in getting, if you don't have a die cut machine, you're interested in getting one. It's a little bit less expensive and it's a perfect one to put onto a starter kit along with, you know, a set of dies or something. So there we go. and it's just a lot lighter than the big one, and most of our shapes will go through there. There's just a few of our larger dies that you would need the larger machine for, but like these stitched circles will go through there. A lot of our new embossing folders are the half size, and so they'll go through, so it's a really nice option. All right, put those away. Now that I have my 2 circles cut out, there we go, I am going to do a little bit of stamping on here, and I'm going to use some Memento ink to do this stamping. I am going to stamp my sentiment that says "Hello, friend" right there in the center of my small balmy blue circle. And stuck in Richmond. Oh no, Val. I've gotten so frustrated with watching where things are stuck that I've stopped watching. I just order, and when it arrives, it arrives. The stress of watching it get stuck in Richmond or things being sent back to Memphis was getting to me. All right, there we go. So I stamped that butterfly as well. So the butterfly comes just like all the other images in this set. It does come with a second layer, so you could just literally come in here, stamp over top, and it would all be colored in one go. And if you wanted this to be multiple colors, you could ink this up with multiple colors and do that, and it's like the fastest, easiest 2-step stamping. Love it. But today I'm going to get a little bit fancier. I wanted to share with you how you can actually use your blends to blend different colors. So often when I use my blends, I blend like the dark and the light of one color together. But today we're actually going to do a blending of 3 entirely different colors. I mean, of course, they're not like, you know, clashing and going to make ugly brown mess in the middle, but they are 3 completely different colors. So I'm going to start with my dark balmy blue, and I'm going to color the tips of my butterfly wings. Well, actually, a lot more than just the tips. I'm going to come all the way in through that first layer. And I'm not being overly careful about how I'm coloring, kind of actually being pretty sloppy. All right, that's done. I'm going to do those 3 pieces on the inside with light lovely lipstick. And I actually think that that's a color that's not available, so maybe actually I'll swap that out, and I will use my light Magenta Madness. After all, that is the strip of paper that that we've got happening there anyways in the center of our card. All right, so oh, and that's such a bright color. I love it. All right, so here we go. I've got my light Magenta Madness. That is on fire. Oh, I love it. Okay. And then I'm also just going to come in and do like the tiniest little like extra bit. So it's like a little bit sloppy here. It's all good. Okay. So now with that done, I'm going to kind of mellow this whole thing out by coming in with light purple posy and coloring over top of even my Magenta Madness, all over top of that balmy blue. Not the very tips. I'm going to leave the very, very tips blue, but I'm coming in here, and you can see at first it doesn't really blend the colors, but we give it some time. We let it re-moisten, and we start to actually get a blending happening here of all the color. And right out to the very tips. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to come back in one more time. Now you don't want this to get too wet because then it'll start to bleed out, but I'm going to come back in one more time with my balmy blue. It's going to create some really beautiful purple shades and really tone down the Magenta Madness that we put on there. Okay, there we go. And one more time on this bottom wing. There. So now we've got this gorgeous like purpley blue thing happening. I'm going to come in and color in the body and color the body in with the magenta as well. It's with the blue and the magenta mixed together there. All right. And I think this just needs a little bit more blending. Just a bit too solid of a line for my liking. So I'm going to use the tip. It lightens it up a bit using that small tip and really helps with the blending piece. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay, and then over time that's going to kind of mellow as well. All right, so that's how we can kind of use these to really get some different colors and blend multiple colors together. Oh, good morning, Lisa. Nice to have you here. All right, so with that done, we're going to start layering these bits onto our card. So I've got this here. I'm going to actually put this one on with some dimensionals. So flip that over. And with dimensionals on circles, I tend to do 3. I find it doesn't need much more than that for support. If you're going to mail it, you may want to use a few more just so it doesn't get saggy in the mail. But for me, most of mine get hand delivered. So, all right, pop that on there. Excellent. And then this one's going to go right here. So I'm actually just going to use 1 dimensional on here because the other side is going to be layered up over top of my circle. So I'm just going to use a little drop of glue on there. And then I can kind of spread that around. Thanks, Martine. All right. And pop that on there. Okay. So before we do any more, I am going to put this onto a card base. So I have a basic gray card base here. I just thought it was really nice. I'm kind of really into using like our neutrals right now, especially grays I'm finding as a nice kind of background with all these vibrant colors. Don't get me wrong, I love Christmas time, but I love getting back into using all the wild colors once Christmas is over. All right, so here we go. Put that glued straight onto our card front. And we also stamped, there we go, we had stamped this inside piece, so I'm going to pop that into the inside of my card right now. It does make a nice contrast and a little bit softer than maybe putting it on black. I'm seeing a lot of people doing some gorgeous black and white with a pop of color kind of artwork right now, especially since we have that beautiful black and white designer series paper in the catalog. But I'm finding it's just a little harsh for me, and so the grays allow me to have the contrast without too much contrast. All right. And then the finishing touches on this card are going to be my new favorite embellishment. I'm almost out of this pack. And this is the opal rounds. And especially with this blue and pink combo, the flecks in those opal rounds are just amazing and really show that off. So I'm just going to pop one there and then throw a couple on here. Maybe change up the size a bit. So put 2 different sizes on there, and that's just our little finishing touch on that card. So you can see there, really quick and simple card, but these images in the stamp set just are so beautiful. The cover is a little deceiving because these are only shown at 65% in size, so they're truly like much different in size. The stamps themselves are really large and really beautiful, and then the sentiments are so lovely. So that is it for our card. Actually, you know what? It's not it for our card. I'm looking at this and realized one of my favorite types of stamps is here, the little splatter. And so I should have done this before I adhered it to my card. So we'll see. But I'm going to stamp that, stamp it off, and then I'm going to come in here and do just a tiny little bit of, there we go, and a little bit there. So just a little bit of splatter around our butterfly and in that Stamped Off. So there, a little bit of a finishing touch that I should have done earlier. All right, so that is our finished card for this morning. All week long, I actually already have them like scheduled posts. I have gorgeous cards for you every day this week using this Touch of Ink stamp set. I started playing with it the other morning and couldn't stop. It is so much fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Here, let's see, actually, I think I can. I always forget that I can switch back. There we go. Switch back to see you guys to say my final comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a kind of quick and simple card, but that I think is the beauty of the Touch of Ink stamp set, is that you can create things that look really elaborate with very little effort. The two-step stamping or just the quick coloring of these images makes them so easy to work with. So I hope you guys have a great week. I am going to pop back on this afternoon. I have a few errands to run right now. And then I'm going to pop back on and finally get around to my paper pumpkin. I had every intention of doing it this weekend and ended up basically in bed with the migraine all weekend. So I have it sitting beside me. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm so excited to see it though. I've seen some other people's pictures and stuff of the kit, so it looks like a great one. And I did get the add-on as well with those little boxes and the snails, so I'm excited to give those a go. So I'll post probably half an hour in advance and give you guys a little heads up when I get back from my errands and get a chance to do that paper pumpkin. Bye.